Boa tarde. In Portuguese, that means good afternoon. Um, this video will be about how I met my wife and the synchronicity involved. It's going to be a relatively quick story. There's a lot more involved to it. Um, one day I got some new business cards. I started a business. I was going to, start trying to get work. And this is when I was living in America. And so I got these new business cards. I got home one day and I had seen this really cute lady, a few days before, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to put one of my business cards on her window so she can decide whether or not to call me or not. I was just getting out of a divorce. Wasn't really looking to have a relationship or anything like that. I just thought it might be nice to go out for dinner or something if she was interested. But I never heard from her. And a couple of weeks later, I ended up in the hospital with a diabetic coma. We'll share that story another day. I did write a thread about it. The reason why I want to reach 211 posts is I think it's in that thread if you want to read it. In any case, after I got out of the hospital that day, I was at home and I wanted to order some air freshener that was natural. So I was going to call this company and make an order. But because of my diabetic condition, I couldn't see. My eyes were shot. Everything was blurry, and I just thought, well, when the lady asked me for my credit card to complete the order, I couldn't read it. And I said, could you please hold on? I really want this, and I'm going to see if I can find somebody to read my card for me. So she was very nice, and she said, "Sure, I'll wait." And she was patient with me, and I walked out my door. There was any direction I could have gone was left or right, and I didn't know anybody at this condominium complex yet. I'd only been there a few weeks. Didn't really have any contact with a lot of people, but I walked out my door, turned right, went down past other doors, and knocked on this one particular door. Lady answered. I couldn't really see her. I had no idea, what she looked like. I could see like a silhouette of her face. I could hear a little kid. She was holding a kid. Maybe she was a babysitter. I didn't know who she was. But I asked her, I said, could you please read my credit card for me? I'm having trouble and I need to complete this. I'll explain to you another day. And she said, oh, sure, in a very sweet voice. I'll be glad to, do that for you. So she read the credit card out to the lady, and I said thank you, and I went back home. And then later on that week, about 5 or 6 days later, I was having my son over for our weekly sleepover. It was part of my visitation in the divorce settlement. Uh, so we're coming back home. We get in the garage and we get out of the car. And as we're getting out, I see this lady that I saw a few weeks before coming into the garage. And I said, "Hey, you're the lady who I left my business card on your window on your car the other day." And she said, "Oh, you're the gentleman who came to my door the other day and asked me to read your credit card." And I looked at my son and I said, "This lady's going to be in our life for a long time." I had that feeling right then that this was going to be something more than just a fling or just some silly little BS relationship. At that point, I just had this feeling, and So we said, okay, and we'll try to get together soon. And later on that weekend, we went to the jacuzzi at the condominiums, and she didn't want to get in because she was having her lady friend visit, if you know what I mean. And so she would just stick her feet in the pool or in the jacuzzi while I was doing my exercises because the reason for me going was that I had to do exercises. So I had to keep my metabolism going because of my diabetic condition. I needed to make sure, so this was important to me. And I was doing my exercises, and she crossed her leg, and I saw something on her ankle, tattooed. I said, again, my eyes were not that great still. They were getting better, but they were still not too good. And I said, "Oh, you have a tattoo. What is that?" She said, "Oh, this is my angel." I said, "Really? Interesting." So while I was in the hospital, I had dreams about angels. And when I got out of the hospital, first book I bought was Angels and Demons. And I thought, okay, that's pretty strange. I never had really this angel fascination or anything. So it was unique that I had this at that point. And so that was just another thing for me to think, okay, I was supposed to meet this lady for a reason. And we just continued our relationship, and things progressed a certain way. Uh, I found out a lot about her. Uh, Her middle name was the same as my first wife's first name. The day that she came into the country was also the same day as my first ex-wife's birthday, which was very strange to me. And her last name was the same place that me and my second ex-wife uh, went to on our honeymoon. It was also weird how all these little things kept, popping up. Her birthday is a couple of days before my ex anniversary. Uh, Not really a big deal, but it's kind of strange. Um, Her daughter had a kid, and her daughter's kid's name was the same name as a company that my father used to run. Also, kind of strange. Um, there, there, there were quite a few different things about me and her that just kept giving me more and more reason to believe that my feeling about us being together was accurate. That I was going down the right path. But she had a different motivation when she first met me, and I had a different motivation when I first met her. But I was determined to make sure that whatever relationship we had was long lasting. If it was going to be a friendship, so be it. I was prepared for that. I wanted it to be more, but I was not in any hurry to have physical contact You know, I didn't want to have this get in the way of getting to know each other, you know, first. And, you know, if I was just looking for a fling, great. You know, she was willing, you know, but I made it clear to her, you know, listen, I want more from you than just a fling. And you need to know as much about me as you can to decide whether or not there's a possibility for you to be with me. And I need to know that you're capable of handling certain things about me because I'm high maintenance when it gets right down to it. Um, I have OCD on different levels, but I'm highly allergic to a lot of different things. And this is also because of something that happened to me when I was 28 years old. I don't shave. I'm hairless. Okay. I lost all my hair because I got electrocuted. Electricity affects different people different ways. Not everybody that gets electrocuted loses their hair. My hair stopped growing the day I got electrocuted. 2.5 years later, it was all gone. One day I'll share a picture of what I looked like with hair. It's really quite unique. This is a picture of me and my wife the day we got married. She's a beauty, yes, but that's not. She's got a beautiful heart. She is my angel, and I love her dearly, and I would do anything for her. And I did, and I have. I gave up a lot of comfort in America to come to Brazil to be with her. And I did this for a lot of different reasons. And believe it or not, they're not selfish in my regard. Um, yeah, she's my true love, and I did not want to be without her. But I was thinking long term, and I could not allow her and me to be separated um, for an indefinite period of time because a relationship suffers. Period. You know, when you're not together, we spent every day on Skype talking to each other, but it wasn't the same. You know, my son gave me his blessing. He loves her. He's thrilled to death that I found somebody that could love me and appreciate me for who I am, which was not something his mother could do. He understood this. And he also understood that in the future that it would be better for me and him both if Edith was in our life, if we were together. You understand? So I gave up my ability to be with my son, but that had already been drastically changed, you know, due to the divorce. Uh, I prepared him for this moment when I was going to go to Brazil. And I kind of consider it to be like daddy's on a business trip, you know. Plenty of fathers go to war and are gone for years. This is not that case. I needed to be here in order to facilitate my wife coming back with me. I needed to be here to document medical conditions so that I could get a waiver for her to come back. And I'm in that process. Uh, Fortunately, I have the ability to be here beyond my original visa because I started this process with the federal level that gives me capability of being nationalized as a citizen or naturalized or whatever you want to call it. But this is a little bit of information about how I met my wife and where I'm at today and how I got to this point. Um, the video has to end now, but I'll leave it with take care. Love you all. Ascension.